Alright, hey guys, it's Merbo CCG back in the video. With this video, I'm going to be going over my Yubel deck profile, and this is post Phantom Nightmares. So let's get started here. I run one copy of Yubel the Ultimate Nightmare, one copy of Terra Incarnate, and the original Yubel. So here, you only really need these one-ofs just because you're going to be upgrading into them. It's not extremely common that you're going to be upgrading them, but it's definitely there, and you want to have the ability to do so. And the main thing you want to know here is that Terra Incarnate is pretty powerful just because during the end phase you can destroy all other monsters in the field. Obviously you gotta be careful on how you use that just so that you don't wipe everything out on your board. If you time this perfectly, it can be a really good bomb, can clear out the board, and it's just very powerful for that respect. And then the Ultimate Nightmare here, it's a solid Yubel monster. It's not gonna have like a powerful end of turn effect, but it is, if your opponent tries to attack into this, they are going to take damage equal to that monster's attack, and we are going to be able to destroy that monster, so that's great to see. And then the original Yubel, this is of course the card that you're going to be mainly popping out here, and yeah, it's just a strong one of. You only need the one of because all of these cards that are able to search it out can pretty much get it out of anywhere, so you don't really need multiple copies. It can also be kind of bricky if you don't have ways of getting rid of it. Of course, in this deck, there's a good amount of ways to do so. You don't really need more than one copy. Then we have 3 copies of Spirit of Yubel. This card is very powerful because it is going to be your way of special summoning out your actual Yubel monster. But besides that, when it's summoned or when an opponent declares an attack, you can special summon it that way as well. Then you can take one spell or trap card from your deck that mentions Yubel and either add it to your hand or set it onto the field. That's great because you can either set it onto your field during your opponent's turn, and then during your turn you're able to activate it, or just add it to your hand and then activate it that way. And here I run one copy of the Geist Grinder Golem. This card is nice because it is going to be your way of finishing your opponent. You're going to see in one of the combos there's a pretty easy 2-card OTK that you're able to do using this card, but it's just nice because you're able to special out a Yubel monster using it. It is going to give you a bunch of life points when you attack into it, and of course it's a 3000 attack monster, so that's a good chance to just hit your opponent for a lot of damage. So we run 3 copies of Dark Beckoning Beast. This card just lets you normal summon a fiend monster with 0 attack and 0 defense. So that's gonna be good in case you want to like normally summoning these Yubel monsters out, but really you're gonna be using it to summon out Samsara here for free, and it's also searching out cards for you to discard in the form of opening of the Spirit Gates. Then we run 3 copies of Samsara Regenerating Lotus. This card is when you contribute it, special summon a Yubel monster from your deck. So that's great, just get a Yubel monster that way, and of course you can summon out Spirit of Yubel, then get a search out of it. And then during the end phase, if you control Yubel, which is this Yubel, you're actually able to bring this card back out. So that's good because of the timing. Sometimes you even like choose to trigger one of the Yubel monster's effects off first to destroy something, and then you can get Samsara out onto the board and then kind of avoid that, or you can summon out Yubel and then activate Samsara's effect during the end phase to get it out, and then use Yubel to tribute it that way. So there's multiple ways of using this card. It's just definitely a 3-up. Then for hand traps, we have 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 3 copies of Nibiru. It's just great for clearing out the board and generic hand trap. 1 for 1, we do have Samsara here. That's a powerful one, level 1 monster, so we want to be able to utilize it. Then we have 3 copies of Pure Erase Map. At the start of your main phase, you can add 1 monster with 0 attack from your deck to your hand, but half your life points. So this could be a great way of like searching one of your Yubel monsters out, or really any of these cards. You know, we have Spirit Yubel, we have Terra Incarnate, and then we have Samsara here. And of course, Dark Beckoning Beasts that are just level 0 attack monsters that you can search out. There's just great searchability. Of course, you're going to lose life points, but if you attack into Geist, it's not going to be too bad. 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity. Sometimes you just want to search out that one card, like for instance, get out that Geist. In order to go into the OTK, if you see the line for it, it's just great to have 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity. Called by the Grave for hand traps. Feels like this deck was built around Super Polymerization a bit, and yeah, you definitely want to see 3 copies of it. Then we have 3 copies of Nightmare Pain. This card is really powerful because you can destroy a dark monster from your hand or face of field, and if you do, add a Yubel or one card that mentions it from your deck to your hand. So we have searchability while also triggering Spirit of Yubel's effect or Yubel's effect or whatever you're trying to activate in order to combo off of it. Not only that, while you control a Yubel monster, all your opponent's monsters that can attack must attack a Yubel monster. So it just makes it very annoying because you're going to be forcing your opponent to actually attack into your Yubel monsters and essentially hitting themselves. Then we have 3 copies of Opening of the Spirit Gates. This card is really strong for this deck because it is going to be your way of searching out Dark Beckoning Beast. But besides that, you can actually discard a card to special summon one fiend monster with 0 attack and 0 defense from your graveyard. So obviously an easy target for this is your Yubel monsters. You're going to be able to just special summon them out for a discard, not too bad. Then we have 2 copies of Mature Chronicle. If you set this card up and just start summoning a bunch of Yubel monsters or monsters that mention it, you're going to be able to get at least one powerful effect out of it. And just special summoning a Yubel monster from your grave is nice, but obviously building up all the way to a Super Poly means that you do have a search for Super Polymerization, which is really good to see. But in case you're not able to go into some form of searching out Super Polymerization, you can get out Eternal Favorite here, and if you control Yubel, you can actually discard a card and send this face-up card from your Spell and Trap Zone to the graveyard, and fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from either field as material. So that's great because you're going to see in the extra deck you have quite a few amount of targets you can use using a Yubel monster. But besides that, you can also special summon out one of your Yubel monsters that is banished or in your graveyard. Alright guys, before I go to the extra deck, if you guys are enjoying the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and consider joining the membership. That does help out the channel, and of course it'll help you influence the content I create. So here I run 3 copies of Yubel Das Ewig. If this card is fusion summon, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each fusion material used for its summon. So a bit of burn damage that you can get in here. And you can see it just requires 1 Yubel monster plus 1 or more effect monsters in the field. So that makes it a perfect Super Poly target. Just have a Yubel monster out, and then your opponent can have 5 monsters on their board. You can just take all of them and then burn them for a bunch of damage. And then here we see a lot of the regular Yubel of monster effects where it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Yubel Das Ewig here cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, and you take no battle damage from battles involving this card as per usual. At the end of the damage step, if this card battled an opponent's monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that opponent's monster's attack, and if you do, you can banish that monster. So it's a great way of forcing your opponent to attack into it using Nightmare Pain, but obviously clearing out the board with this, burning a bunch of damage, and then having a monster that can't be destroyed by battle or card effects is going to be really awkward for your opponent to have to deal with. But besides that, since it's a Super Poly deck, obviously you're going to have Starving Venom, Fusion Dragon, Dragostapelia here, and then our Garura here is Garura and Mudragon are just going to increase our targets, and just makes for a very powerful Super Polymerization deck. And then I run 1 copy of Zeus because we do have quite a few of Exceed monsters. And then we have Superstar Slayer, Typhon, Sky Crisis. This monster is very easy to get out, and of course, while this Exceed monster is in the field, another player can activate the effects of a monster with 3,000 or more attack. So that could be nice because sometimes it could be annoying to just deal with your opponent's monsters that have already a pretty setup board. And then I run 1 copy of Super Dreadnought, Railken, and Juggernaut Leave. So this is just because we have the Super Dreadnought, Railken, and Gustav Max that does the burn damage. So you could use it, go into this, and set yourself up with more material if you'd like. Then we have SP Little Knight. This is great because you've seen just the price of this card is insane for a reason. You can target 1 card in the field or in either graveyard, banish it. When your opponent activates a card or effect, you can target 2 face-up monsters in the field, including a monster you control, banish both until the end phase. So it's just going to be temporarily annoying for your opponent just to be able to bounce things in and out. And then IP Masquerade gives you the ability to actually go into SP Little Knight during your opponent's turn. Then Link Haribo and Celebrate Almirage in case you need a way of actually getting rid of one of your monsters here, in the form of either Samsara for like Link Haribo, or if you want to get rid of the Dark Beckoning Beast, you can also do that using Almirage. And now for the side deck here, I just want to prepare you guys for the new support that's going to be coming out in the future. So here we have Infernal Grave Squirmer. So if you control a Fiend monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then you can destroy 1 monster you control that is Yubel or mentions it. And then you can also banish this card from your graveyard, especially when 1 Fiend monster with 0 attack or 0 defense from your hand or grave. So you can see this card provides a lot of value. Not only is it a new level 1 0 attack 0 defense target, but if you control Fiend monster, to be able to special summon this card out for free while also destroying a monster you control means that you can trigger effects a lot more easier using this card. And not only that, but being able to special summon a Fiend monster with 0 attack and 0 defense from your hand or grave just means you can set up your board with a bunch of Yubel monsters a lot more easier. So it's going to be a nice thing to support. Then we have Nightmare Throne here. When this card is activated, you can take 1 Fiend monster with 0 attack or defense from your deck and either add it to your hand or destroy it. So obviously we have a lot of targets here. We're just going to be able to search out. We have the Yubel monsters. We have, of course, the Samsara. We have the Dark Beckoning Beast. It just says 0 attack, 0 defense Fiend. And then the new Infernal Grave Squirmer. So a lot of searchability. And then once return of a face-up Yubel monster so you control leaves the field by a card effect, you can add to your hand one of your Yubel monsters that is banished or in the deck or grave, whose original level is 1 higher and 1 lower. So what this means is just that you're basically going to be able to go into these higher level Yubel monsters a lot more easier using this field spell. But if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.